We've all heard that classic line, with freedom comes responsibility. It's one of those fundamental trade offs we learn growing up. But what if we've got it all backward? Today, we're going to look at a really powerful idea that completely flips that equation on its head, and it shows how true, lasting freedom is actually created. Right? This is the one. We all know this. It's that classic piece of wisdom that gets passed down through movies, books, and life lessons. The idea is pretty straightforward. If you want the perks of freedom, you've got to carry the weight of responsibility. It's always presented as this deal, a price you have to pay. Okay, now this is where things get really interesting. This isn't meant to argue with the old saying, it's more like a profound upgrade. It takes that whole equation and just turns it upside down. See, instead of freedom leading to responsibility, this suggests that a very, very specific kind of responsibility is what actually creates freedom in the first place. So, what is it about this one sentence that's so powerful? Well, to really get it, we need to break it down. It really comes down to three key parts we've got to unpack: this idea of responsibility, the role that discipline plays, and what many degrees of freedom actually means. The first thing, and maybe the biggest key here, is seeing the huge difference between responsibility and responsibility. One feels heavy, right? Responsibility is like a debt, an obligation someone puts on you. It's a burden. But responsibility, that's the complete opposite. It's not a burden. It's a power you have inside you. It's your internal capacity to choose how you act. That little hyphen in the middle is everything. It literally splits the word in two: your response and your ability. This totally reframes it, not as a duty, but as a skill you can actually build. The skill of creating a little pause between what happens to you and how you react. And in that pause, that's where you find the power to choose. It's all about being intentional, not just impulsive. So how do you build this skill? What's the engine that powers it? Well, it's discipline. And I don't mean discipline as some kind of punishment or restriction. Think of it more like consistent training. It's like strengthening a muscle. It's the active, daily practice that transforms a person who just reacts into someone who's truly responsible. It's the engine for growth. Now, this whole process, it doesn't just stop with you. It's not just some personal development hack. Cultivating this responsibility builds into something so much bigger. We're not just talking about managing your own reactions here. We're talking about being the architect of a whole new future. It really works like a chain reaction. That consistent discipline, that's the tool. You use it to build your responsibility. And once you have that power, that ability to choose wisely and consistently over time, you start to unlock all these new possibilities, or what the quote calls degrees of freedom. And what exactly are these degrees of freedom? It sounds a little abstract, right? But it's not. It's super tangible stuff. We're talking about the financial freedom that comes from disciplined saving and investing, or the creative freedom that comes from disciplined practice. It's having real freedom over your time, your relationships, even your own emotional state, all because you've built the ability to make conscious choices day in and day out. And honestly, this might be the most powerful part of the entire idea. The freedoms you create, they don't just stop with you. They have a ripple effect. When you build financial stability, you create opportunities for your kids. When you model emotional calm, you give them a toolkit for their own lives. Your disciplined choices create a foundation of freedom for everyone who comes after you. So, when you put it all together, what we're really talking about here is a complete paradigm shift. The old way of thinking says freedom is something you're given, and then you're stuck with the burden of responsibility. But this new model, it says freedom is something you earn. It's the outcome of actively building the skill of responsibility. You're shifting from being a passive person things happen to being an active creator of your own liberty. And that really brings us to the final and most important question. This isn't just some interesting theory to think about, it's a call to action. So, looking at all those different types of freedom, financial, creative, emotional, all of them, which one will you start building today? What foundation will you start laying for yourself and for generations to come?